Black Ops 6 is finally out, and it's one of the most highly anticipated Call of Duty releases in years. We'll talk about what that might mean for Game Pass.
And we're in the final stretch of spooky season, and we just saw an amazing indie horror showcase. We're going to talk about a bunch of games from that and a whole lot more right now on Gaming News Weekly. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Gaming News Weekly, the best weekly video game news show out there. Every single Monday, we're bringing you all the biggest news from the video game industry. You can check us out on TikTok, YouTube, and podcast services everywhere. My name is E-Rock the Red, and as always, I am joined by this man right here, Full Clip. What is up, dude?
What's good? You know, another week, another round of gaming news. Right in time, as you mentioned in the intro there. We've got that indie horror showcase right in time for Halloween and E-Rocktober.
I know, dude. I've been really trying to play lots of spooky games to get in the, E-Rocktober mood. So, I was really excited to watch that whole, it was long, dude. It was an hour and a half showcase. I watched the whole thing. I've got ideas. I'm excited to talk about it. Call of Duty, we got that to talk about. I'm super excited to chat about that with you. But first of all, I want to know if you've been playing anything. You've been doing anything fun?
Honestly, not yet. I took like 2 days to get New World Eternum downloaded, at least on one PC.
Oh, nice. Now
I've got the other one to worry about. And somewhere in here, I've got to budget my time and my bandwidth to get Call of Duty Black Ops 6. It's just as soon as I re-up on my Game Pass subscription. But it's going to happen. Going to get there eventually. I've already got my double XP codes stacked up. I guess you can only use like one code per day, so I need to start that process now.
You just got to get a lot of cheesy bites or whatever. That is.
Yeah. I saw like even if you bought like a 2-liter soda in there, and that's the only thing you bought, you'd still get the code. So I don't even know why they put the little disclaimer on there.
Yeah, head to Little Caesars and get some double XP. I'm excited for you to get that bandwidth going and download it because I want to hear your take on it. I'll send some satellites your direction. We'll get that Starlink posted up over your house.
Need to do that
to get there. I've been playing a bunch, so I make up for your lack of gaming this week with a ton of games. So I've been, like I said, trying to get into the spooky season. So I've been doing, I started a game called Stay Out of the House. It's like a retro PlayStation style horror game about a serial killer. That's really, really good, really spooky. I definitely recommend that on PC. And then Amanda the Adventurer 2, I got a review copy of that like last week, and I only got like about an hour into it, so I'm gonna reserve. I'll talk about that next week. But that one is more spooky puzzle fun. And then I've been trying to go back and finish some games too. So I 100% Indica. I got all the achievements on that. Fantastic game. I highly recommend that. It's one of my it's my top 10 probably for game of the year. This little indie game about a little nun running around the Russian countryside or wherever.
Now, is that one a spooky one? I remember the trailer seemed kind of spooky, but nuns in general.
Not like spooky, but it had the style of it kind of builds dread. There's a little bit of anxiety flowing throughout the entirety of the game. It's all dark and weird, and there's demons and stuff. So I guess it does fit the spooky theme. So doing that, and then just a bunch of metaphor whenever I could fit in time. And then on top of that, I played three of our 4 new releases this week. So I've been busy, dude. I've been real busy. Yes. Not doing the things I probably should be doing, like, housework and, work. But, I've been playing video games, and that's all anybody really cares about, right?
Right. That's what we're here for.
All right. Well, let's get in to those new releases from last week. All right, first up, Awaken Astral Blade came out on October 22nd on PC and PS5. This one I was excited for when I first saw the trailer, and it's like a Metroidvania, and it's really beautiful. It's like colorful. The characters are really cool. It's a little bit of a sci-fi-ish because the protagonist is like this bionic girl, and she gets different like weapons throughout, different skills. It's fine as far as Metroidvanias go. It's not breaking the mold. The designs of the world and the characters are great. The exploration is great. The bosses are really cool. There's like the bosses have like two forms. You know, you thought you beat the boss, but no, they come back with their second form. So I do like that. The only thing it's simple. The gameplay overall, the fighting is simple. It's like, you know, just a few button combos, and repetitive. I would say more like the combat feels repetitive a lot of times, and it's not as exciting. That's the only real downfall to the thing. I would say it's a great entry level Metroidvania. It's not too difficult. There's backtracking. There's skill trees. For me, I would say overall 7 out of 10. So a good game, but it's not, for big fans of the Metroidvania genre, it's not doing anything new.
Not breaking any ground there.
Fun to look at.
So you have a buddy that plays like all the Metroidvanias. Are they getting into this one?
I haven't chatted with him about it. I saw he did play it a little bit and then stopped. So I don't know if that's good or not, but I've been meaning to talk to him about it. I'm about 5 hours in. I think it's maybe about a 10-hour game. So, but I'm having a blast. Like, I think it's very enjoyable. It's not too difficult. Mm-hmm. I do kind of sometimes really just enjoy when I could just platform and it's not too much of a challenge. I'm not on the hardest level, which is fine with me. I'm just having fun, going and seeing all the things I could find within the world. So, and it's a beautiful world. So, yeah, I recommend it. Next up, Slay the Princess. The Pristine Cut came out October 24th on all things. Now, so this game had been out on PC for quite a while, and it's finally out on console. This is basically the console version. So it's on all the consoles, and it's a free upgrade for PC. So if you've had it on PC, you get this update. It's got the Pristine Cut in there. It adds 35% more, ton of different content added to it. And what the game is, it's just a visual novel. It's a horror game where you have to slay, not save, the princess, so it's a little bit different there. So she's some sort of, I don't know, demon or enemy or something, then you've got to, figure out through conversation and actions, like how to slay her and save the world in the process that you think. I don't know. But it's all fully voice acted. The acting is fantastic. It's all hand drawn. It's not like animations, more like frames. That they're single frames when you get to a thing. I've never played Slay the Princess prior to this. Did you ever play it?
No.
But I had heard great things. All last year, everybody's like, you got to play Slay the Princess. And I just never got around to it. So finally, with this new version, I'm in there. And I'm seeing what everybody's talking about. And it is so well made. Like, the whole thing. It's very simple, but it's like, the voice acting, the outcome, the choose your own adventure type situation and everything feels different. And you get these different endings depending on how you go through it. And it's like, so far, I haven't had very much similar. Every time I played it now through, it's been different and exciting and weird. So yeah, I get what all the chat is about. And now that it's on console, a lot more people can. So yeah, it's fun. It's a fun game.
Yeah. From the trailer, it's kind of hard to distinguish, like, what am I seeing as far as gameplay and what is... So is it mostly, like, dialogue-based? It's not like a Zelda where you're running around, even though this is kind of supposed to be flipping the whole save the princess narrative on its head.
Right. And it is entirely dialogue. It is just, you're just choosing what you want to say and how to basically figure out the situation. Like, do you want to kill this poor defenseless girl that's chained up inside of a room, you know?
Is that like an
then
option at the first screen, like, and then the game just ends? Just do it.
I mean, pretty much. Like, you could go in there and try, like, right away without any conversation. And it's like, yeah, it can, your first ending could happen real fast. So it's really cool. And then every time, depending on what you say, the ending changes or the outcome changes. It's a great game. And there's a ton of content. So you can play it multiple times and try to get the different endings. And it will take you a long time to get there. So, yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with that one. And then next up, Sonic X Shadow Generations came out on October 25th, again, on like all the systems. This one it's weird. So it's an all new game in that it's the Shadow portion of this where you play as Shadow, all new platforming, you know, the classic Sonic type stuff. And then there's the Sonic version is just a remaster of Sonic Generations from 2011. So it's pretty cool, but it's, you know, you and I have never been huge Sonic fans. This is the one that as I'm watching the trailer, I'm like, this looks really, really good. Like, it looks fun. It looks updated enough. You know, Shadow's got some new abilities and skills, and the game looks gorgeous. Right. So this would be the one I could see getting into.
Yeah, I really don't know anything about the original version of the Sonic part of this, but I know that you have like two Sonics. So they're bringing in like the chubby little retro Sonic and then the taller new Sonic, and I guess you're playing as either of those back and forth. I saw something in the description of this game that like Sonic is the ultimate life form, and I thought that's so weird. When did we go from like gotta go fast to he is the ultimate life form?
The ultimate life form. Yeah, no, that sounds like some New Testament Sonic stuff right there. But yeah, the game's getting great reviews. It's got an 80 on Metacritic right now, and everything I've read says that the Shadow portion of the game is the reason this game is as great as it is. The Sonic one, it's like, meh, it's a okay remaster or whatever. But the Shadow levels are like some of the best Sonic platforming ever. So, interesting. All right, and the last one, the reason we're all here, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 came out October 25th on PC, PS5, and Xbox S and X. This one, it's got the campaign set in the 90s. It's like a spy type thriller. It's got multiplayer, 16 new maps, all the, you know, the modes that you love. Prestige is back, you can get in there. And then it's got the return of the round-based zombies mode too. So all three of these in a $70 package, unless you have Game Pass, because it's the first time a Call of Duty game has released on Game Pass, and this is exciting. Like, I mean, we've talked about it I feel like it's been years that we've talked about this moment. You know, that Activision Blizzard merger took so long.
Yeah, and then even then we didn't know if for sure it was going to come to Game Pass, because we thought maybe, you know, that's such a cash cow for Activision. They're going to want to get their top dollar out of that, $70 a pop. No way they're going to bring it to Game Pass, but here we are. And they brought, Modern Warfare 3 to Game Pass as well? The most recent release?
Modern Warfare 3 is there. Yep. So, this is going to be a huge test. Before we talk about that, let me give my impressions on the Call of Duty. I haven't tried the campaign yet, but I do think I'm going to, just because, I mean, I lived through this stuff, the Saddam Hussein and Desert Storm and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. But I did play multiplayer a couple nights, and it's good. It's good. I give it two thumbs up. The maps are fantastic. The game modes still enjoyable. I don't know if I played anything really new. I've just been playing the main quick maps or whatever, quick play. And now you know how it takes you a little bit to learn the maps to start to really do better. And yeah, I feel it. It's got that the omni movement skill too, where you can jump and dive, and people are just diving everywhere, flipping around, trying to shoot you while they're diving, and that's fun. I still have to work on that, get that mastered, but Yeah, I'm really enjoying the multiplayer. I'm excited to get your thoughts on it. So
Yeah, I want to play
yeah,
so
you gotta
bad.
get
It's
moving.
just there's
Yeah,
just a huge hurdle, and then I don't know how it's going to play on my internet anyway. Did you get into
yeah.
the zombies mode at all since it's
No,
spooky season?
no,
I hear it's
I
good.
have not. I've heard it's good too, and I would like to check it out. That's always one where like you gotta it's better when you've got like a few friends that you can go in there and play. It gets crazy. So yeah, I've heard great things about all of the modes. The campaign got like a 9 out of 10 from IGN, which is crazy to me. So yeah, it's a step in the right direction. This is the time that they needed to have a good quality Call of Duty game again.
Yeah,
After Modern Warfare 3, where it was just kind of meh.
yeah.
You're
And
coming
that's, I mean,
strong with this one.
I see a lot of hype around it. People saying this is going to be the best one in years. But then I remember back, like everybody said that a couple of generations ago, and then everybody
Right.
just kind of played it for 2 months and quit. So I never really know what the average person's take on Call of Duty is. I figure if I'm in it for $60 or $70, I'm just going to keep playing it most of the year, regardless.
Yeah. And that's an interesting thing too. Like, so they're already talking about what this is going to give to Xbox, Activision, and they're saying they're expecting up to 4 million subscriptions to Game Pass to come specifically just for this game. So I'm really interested to see how this shakes out, what it does to the sales numbers. Will this still be, the number one sold game? Or what is this going to do for Game Pass numbers? So now you got $20 a month for the subscription, or you could buy the game outright for $70. Like, I guess it depends on who you are in this group. Are you taking advantage of the other games on Game Pass? Then it's worth it for that $20 a month. If you're someone that just buys Call of Duty, if you're someone who's still playing Modern Warfare 3, and that's all you play, maybe it's better then to buy the game outright if you're not interested in what the other offerings on Game Pass are. So yeah, there's so many questions about what this is going to do for the sales, for Game Pass, and yeah, I'm really excited to see what what happens, and will it kind of be a testament going into the future about what these other games are going to do. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Like, this is going to be a test for the future Call of Duty releases, and probably a lot of other games too that are now under the Microsoft umbrella, to see whether or not they're going to be coming to Game Pass next year. Because if this doesn't pan out the way they plan to, if they don't get all these millions of subscribers that they're kind of anticipating,
Yeah,
and those subscribers don't stay active subscribers, that's another factor in it. It's not just this 1 month, because if you just paid $15 for an access and then you decided you didn't like the game and you just quit again, then they're not going to bring the next one to Game Pass, I would assume. But yeah, this is kind of a change up when you've had something running this same way since 2008 with the annual releases and all of this money being kind of shoveled in. We're going to see. We're going to find out whether it's going to go back to the old way or whether this is kind of maybe changing things forever.
Yeah, I was just recently looking at the highest selling games in the past 20 years or whatever, and almost every time I think that there was a Call of Duty that came out, it was the number one game. So yeah, I'm interested to see what it means now going forward, that this is a little different. They're doing a little different. So yeah, we'll see. But I'm giving it 2 thumbs up. I'm really having fun, and I am looking forward to trying the campaign, which says a lot. So download it. We'll talk about it next week. Get it done. Good. Whatever it takes.
Got one more thing to slip in here before we get to our news of the week.
Slip it in.
So, are you aware of this? The Friends of Jimbo Pack 2 for Balatro?
I am. Yeah,
Nice.
I just updated my cards last night to have the new skins. Slay the Spire. What else?
Cyberpunk 2077. Stardew Valley and the
Binding of Isaac in Stardew Valley. Yeah. It's really cool. I like that they're doing this. Now it's really just skins, so I would like, give me some more jokers, let's get some good content in here. But it's fun. I like that they're, playing well with the game.
And I love that it's free, and they basically don't make a big deal out of it. I didn't even know it until I saw the trailer on YouTube with like 14,000 views over the last 2 days. So not that many, even though there's so much hype around this game and so many people playing it. I think this is more of like a shadow drop or something going on. But lo and behold, I get on my mobile version of the game and check on modified cards under the options, and it's there. So I'll be looking at Johnny Silverhand when I play my Kings now.
There you go. He is the king. So yeah, it's very cool. I like that they're doing that, and you can play Balatro and Dave the Diver now too. It's there's like an update to that just came out at the same time, and it was like now it's in the game. I don't know how much or whatever, but it's very interesting. I like it. All right, let's move things along. Let's talk about our news of the week. All right, first up, we got more drama at Ubisoft. It's every week, I feel like lately we've been talking about stuff going on over there. This one is about the team of developers that made Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. They have been disbanded and moved to other projects. So this pretty much, puts a nail in the coffin for any sequel to the Prince of Persia platformer, which, I thought was a great game, but it just didn't do the best sales numbers. I think the first few weeks it sold 300,000 copies, but it scored great. It had like a 86 Metacritic score. It was a great game. So it's unfortunate. Kind of Ubisoft's behind the 8 ball now, and their thing is more about sales numbers and what's going to be the next thing that makes them the money, because they need the money. And obviously Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown was not it. So the team has been disbanded. Are you sad about this one?
Not really. I mean, to be honest with you, I've kind of already forgot that the game existed right after we talked.
I know you did. I know. And everybody else did too. So that's why this happened. But there's a silver lining to this. So the team that was working on Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown got moved to different projects. One of them being Beyond Good and Evil 2. So who knows, that may finally see the light of day after 20 years in development or whatever it is. And then the next Ghost Recon game they're going to be working on, and people have been, screaming for that for years and years and years too. So that's cool. And then a possible Rayman remake, which has got people very, very excited. Now, Rayman was, a platformer that was beloved. Everybody loved the Rayman series. Did you ever get into that one?
It's been since like PlayStation 1 or 2 days since I've been into that. But yeah, there's something to say about a good polished platformer like that if they can do this on the level of like a Ratchet and Clank game. Those are just excellent top tier platformers, I would say.
Absolutely. Yeah. So they said, we are pleased to confirm Ubisoft Montpellier and Ubisoft Milan have recently started an exploration phase on the Rayman brand. The project is still in its early stages, and we will share more details later. And then they said, creator of the Rayman brand, Michel Ancel, is being consulted to ensure consistency within the universe. So they're doing their homework. Hopefully we could get a great, platform. After we saw, how amazing Astrobot was and what could be done in a quality, like you said, polished platformer, they could do something special with a new Rayman. So yeah, be cool to see.
Does it seem like a last-ditch effort, though, with everything going on at Ubisoft? Like, let's put all of our eggs into this one basket and revive something where they've taken an 11-year hiatus off of a Rayman title.
Yeah.
And I think your problem there is that you kind of missed a generation of gamers as they were coming up. And I don't think they're not going to have nostalgia for this the way that people closer to our ages would.
Yep, unless they can make something like really amazing and kind of spark a new, desire to have it. But yeah, you're right. If they expect it to sell solely based on nostalgia, it's not going to do great. But it will sell, because I know there's a lot of people excited for it. So yeah, hopefully it'll be good. We'll have to wait and see. It's probably many, many years out, knowing how they roll over there. All right, next up, let's talk about some horror games. There was a indie horror showcase put out last week by one of my favorite developers, Dread XP. They put together this horror showcase, ton of indie games. It was an hour and a half. I don't know exactly how many game trailers there were, but there was a ton of like retro style horror games, like the PS1 era stuff, even like 16-bit, 8-bit stuff. But a lot of exploration horror, kind of like, you know, the first person where you're in a haunted house. There's a lot of those. And then there was a bunch of like stuff that to me stood out, weird stuff, different stuff. So I wrote down about, I don't know, like 10 games. I'm going to go through them. I don't know. Stop me if you want to chat about any of these or if you have questions or anything like that. I'm just going to run through them. First up, Paperhead is like this cardboard world, and it's like a first person shooter, and you have like, you pick up pencils that do like magical stuff and like cardboard guns, and it looks really cool. And then it's set in like a just like a horror world with like demons and stuff like that. So this one right away was like really interesting.
Yeah, I think out of the entire list, this is probably the one that I'd want to play the most. It has a little bit of like a Doom aspect to it, but then at the same time, you're suddenly SpongeBob with the magic pencil that brings doors to life and popping through doors.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, it's like a paper Doom. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this one got me really excited when I saw that one. Karma: The Dark World. Now this one was more in line with those exploration ones as a first person walking simulator, but the reason this got me is the way it looked. It's really, really trippy. It's like this dystopian world, and it's set in the 80s, and it is so creepy looking. The whole thing was like just real creepy, and it's got like that sci-fi scary like look to it. That one immediately went on my wish list. But again, the gameplay and stuff, it just looks like we've seen it before, but it looked beautiful. This one was probably one of the other major highlights for me. Deck of Haunts. Now it is, you play as a haunted house, and it's a roguelike deck building game in that like you get these cards, but the cards are for scary things like a ghost or bats, and you play them to get the people that are in the house to be scared, and this is how you win somehow. I really don't know how the gameplay works, but it looks like such a cool idea.
Yeah.
Like, has something like this come out where you play as a haunted house, like, and try to scare people?
I've never really seen that before, and I think you're also like manipulating the way the rooms of the house work, so you're adding on and building to the house. I guess the goal is to make sure that nobody escapes. So you're trying to like frighten them and kill them so that they can't get out of your house.
Yeah. What a cool idea. I'm really excited for that one. Now, like, none of these had dates. So almost all of them were like 2025. So keep that in mind. Real quick, Cabernet, this gorgeous looking 2D role-playing game set in 19th century Eastern European world where you're a vampire. It's just like, I don't know, like you're this fancy lady and also in this vampire world. It looked really cool, very different. Excited for that one. Tom the Post Girl was this weird hand-drawn game where you play as this girl delivering packages, and every house you go to, there's like weird shit happening, and she's just like a peeping Tom, and she's like looking through the windows, and I have no idea what this is, but
is that where the name comes from? Tom the Post Girl?
Yeah. She's a peeping Tom, but it looked so strange. Just like the trailer was one of the weirdest trailers in a group of really weird trailers. That one looked fun. Hungry Horrors is basically like a classic roguelike deck builder with a twist. And the twist is that you're like a princess and you're preparing these dishes to feed the monsters. So you need to find out like what their favorite foods are, and then you have to prepare these dishes. And the dishes are cards that you're using, Slay the Spire style deck builder. But I just thought that I've never had one where there's cooking involved.
Yeah.
So they're getting pretty creative in the deck builder world.
This one seems interesting. I'm interested in knowing more about the mechanics. So, like, how do you put these together? And then what's the replayability once you already know what one of these monsters' like favorite food is?
Yes,
So, do you just
that's a
pass
good
them up
point.
real easy? And is there more of a challenge than getting on like a game wiki and finding out exactly what you need to do in every situation?
Yeah, good point. We'll see. This one I thought of you, and I'm excited to watch your playthrough of this. We Harvest Shadows is a farming sim, but it has like horror moments in it. So like, you know, if you're going out to farm in the morning and there's like a creepy scarecrow thing there or something, but it's like, it looks just like any other simulator game, you know, where you just gotta like, you know, farm and get the tractor. And
even story wise, and from the narrative in the trailer from the main character, it sounds a lot like Farmer's Life. If you remember that simulator I was playing for a while,
that's exactly what I thought of.
Yeah, I mean,
like a horror mod.
Yeah, just a little bit of horror thrown in, but it looks like, I mean, there's some weird stuff. You're carrying like a lamb, and there's that's got enough like symbolism and stuff, and you're walking through this this pillar of like skulls on sticks for some reason. And it makes you wonder, like, is there a bit of a psychological thriller kind of thing going on here? A cult?
Yeah, there's a little more to it. There's a game called Love Eternal. This one, it wasn't my thing, but I wrote it down just because it's a horror precision platformer, which I don't think we've ever had a horror precision platformer before. So it was interesting to see that one. And then a game called Dark Web Streamer, where you're basically, it's like a simulation where you're on a computer set in like the 90s and on the 90s dark web, and you are, you know, you have clients and you have to like do weird stuff for them. It was a very, very strange. This was like right at the end of the thing, and I'm just like losing my mind watching all these creepy, weird horror things. And like, it was like, okay, this one's cool.
Yeah, this one dials that creep factor up to 10. I don't know how realistic it is to be streaming on 90s internet, but and 90s computers. But other than that, good, interesting premise. I think they made a movie just a few years ago that's kind of the same thing. Like, do what the people say, or else you're going to get killed or something. But yeah, this one seems interesting. I just hope it's not a little too indie, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. I was wondering the same thing. And then I think like the biggest one for everybody, the one that got everybody really talking, this game called Bye Sweet Carol, and it basically just looks like you're playing a Disney movie, like a classic, like Snow White type thing, but it's got these real dark horror themes throughout, where you're just trying to uncover the dark truth behind the Bunny Hall orphanage. So it looks amazing. I'm really interested to see how it plays with this animated style. Yeah, I have a lot of questions about this one, but this one I think was probably the highlight for me, just because I've never seen a game with this. You know, I mean, there's a point where even like, you know, in Snow White, where the birds are taking her, you know, dress and putting it on her. There's like birds that take you out of danger and drop you somewhere else. I'm like, this is, you know, this could be a cease and desist from Disney kind of game. But yeah, it looks great. I'm excited to see more. All right, that's it for all the ones that I really enjoyed from the Indie Horror Showcase. Let us know if there were some that you're excited for that we missed chatting about, and I'll check them out. But while we're talking about horror games, seeing that, you know, Halloween is right around the corner, I wanted to let's just talk real quick about the scariest games ever. According to Game Rant, they put out a list of the top like 17 horror games. We'll do the top 10 here. Let me know if you've played it. I know this is not your like your genre.
Yeah.
Do you ever get into the horror games?
No, yeah. And you know, I think a big part of the problem was a lot of these, like I'm assuming maybe Amnesia and things like that will be on this list. So many of them were like PC only games for the longest time back when I was on console.
Yep, absolutely. I missed a ton of them for that reason as well. What about like horror in general? Do you like watch like horror movies and that sort of thing? Or
I mean, I've watched a lot of them. It's not really my favorite.
Yeah, I love it. I love movies. I love games. That doesn't mean like, I mean, I scared very easily, I feel. So like I have to really force myself to sit down and play some of these games. I'll watch any horror movie and I love watching them. But when I'm in it and it's like I'm the one being like, you know, my character or whatever is the one that's being in harm's way, like I have such a hard time with it. But I want to enjoy them. I don't know if I've ever finished like a horror game, but let's talk about their top 10, and we'll see how we feel about them. Number 10, Visage. Never played it. I don't know what this one is. Yeah, this was out in 2020. So kind of like a, they're saying it's the scariest horror game to spawn from the PT kind of movement. So it was like a PT clone. But yeah, never heard of it. Number 9, Resident Evil Remake. Again, you know, you've got the classic Resident Evil. The remakes are obviously way better and way scarier. So this one's cool. That came out in 2015. Number 8, The Evil Within 2. You ever play any of those? I played the first one.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that one was very scary and a lot of fun. So I've had The Evil Within 2 on my PlayStation forever, and I just haven't gotten to it. Number 7, Until Dawn, the classic and the remake. Yeah, me too. And again, one of the scariest games and such a quality game as far as like being able to immerse yourself in this world and like, you know, watch it like a movie. I thought that was a lot of fun. And it's got great replayability too.
Yeah. Is there a sequel? Why isn't there a sequel yet?
I know, they should have been. Well, so like there was a lot that happened with like Supermassive Games, then went to the Dark Pictures anthology. They did The Quarry, which is, they're saying, you know, the spiritual successor, not a sequel per se, but The Quarry everybody says is really good too, which I haven't played that one yet. Number 6, Dead Space in the remake. Again, this one just came to PlayStation Plus, that is. And I'm really excited to try this one out. I downloaded it once. I was like, oh, Erocktober, let's go. Because I've heard this is one of the absolute scariest games. So I will report back. Did you ever play the original Dead Space from 2008?
No, I didn't. But I have a buddy who's into these. So he like was streaming every Dead Space game that he could. Yeah, so I watched a little bit of that.
It's good sci-fi horror. Number 5, Outlast. Played this one. This one is one of the. This is my top 3 scariest games. It uses like that night vision, and you know, you're just like, you're not fighting anything in this. You don't have a gun. You don't have weapons. You're just running and hiding and being very, very scared. And it's definitely a very scary game. And it's set in a mental asylum, which is, you know, of course it's going to be. You know, those are always terrifying. And then this spawned the sequel, and then the Outlast Trials, which I've talked about on here. And that one is very scary as well. Number 4, Resident Evil 7, Biohazard. So this one I played in VR, and that was one of the scariest situations I've ever been in.
Yeah.
It's good. It's very, very good and very, very strange. And, you know, between this and Resident Evil 4, probably my favorite of the Resident Evil series. But yeah, the VR mode, dude.
Yeah, that's it. Like horror in VR, that's got to set a new bar for horror.
Yeah, absolutely. It was hard, man. My heart was racing. And then Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly is their number 3. I've never played any Fatal Frame game. Those are early 2000s. This one, 2003. Number 2, Silent Hill 2. You know, we just got the remake. Silent Hill 2, the OG game from 2001. Still one of the scariest games. Such a great world, creepy world. You know, you got the Pyramid Head and the creepy nuns, stuff like that. And then the Bluebird Team remake just really amped it up. So, fantastic game. And then number 1, Amnesia: The Dark Descent. This one, from 2010. There's been a bunch of these Amnesia games. I played 2 of them. I played. I don't think it was this one. The bunker. There was like a bunker one, and yeah, they're all very trippy games. So one of the things they do in these is that when you're like in the dark too long, I think it makes your character like go crazy, and you start hearing more things and seeing more things, and it's really weird. So yeah, that's it. Those are the 10 scariest games according to Game Rant.
No Choo Choo Charles on this list.
Yeah, no Choo Choo Charles. What is the scariest game that you've ever played?
Ooh. That's hard to say because I've dabbled in like the Resident Evil, Silent Hills a little bit, but not like really to the point where I played enough to appreciate it and get scared at a lot of the jumps.
Sure. Gotcha.
I only know of one
time
like a jump scare has really gotten me, and that's in Grand Theft Auto 5. But it's not even horror. Nice. That's just like raid the submarine and a dude pops around the corner, and the 5th time I've seen it, it still gets me every time.
That's so funny. Yeah, there's a lot of games that I've played that have the jump scares and stuff. Like I recently, talked about the Mortuary Assistant. That game is super scary. And then there's games where it's like more psychological, like Doki Doki Literature Club is like this dating sim, but like the characters kind of go a little crazy.
Yeah.
That one is fantastic.
I would think Until Dawn's up there for me, but it's like not so much from the scary standpoint to it'll get your heart racing when you have to do like the fast action button pressing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That one has got a lot of good jump scares too. I remember when we played it initially, my wife and I, we had like the PlayStation camera hooked up, and Until Dawn, every time a jump scare was going to happen, it would start recording, so you could watch the footage of yourself being scared. It was really funny. There were a bunch of them where I like had my cat like on my lap, and then I would just be like, "Rah!" and my cat just flips out and goes running away. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, and then we don't play any horror games after this month. So then it's back to just
Thanksgiving
monster truck games and yeah, sure, Thanksgiving games. All of those. There's got to be at least one, right? Yeah. Well, I'll let you know when I think of it.
We'll find it on Steam if you can think of it. It exists.
Absolutely, and it's probably a horror game. Anytime there's like a weird game, it's a horror. It's a retro horror game just set during Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else you want to chat about before we call it a day?
Nah, that's it.
All right. Well, that was fun. I enjoyed talking about Call of Duty, horror games, all that good stuff. Make sure you go to TikTok, hit subscribe there for daily content, whether it's, new stuff, indie game of the week, Game Pass game of the week, or just, clips from the show. We got it all over there, and we're so close to 1,000 followers. We're only like 9 away, and then it's all happening. Oh, yeah. And then check out our the video of the show at Pop Culture Playground on YouTube. Every week you could have the videos, including all the trailers and stuff that we're talking about right there. But if you just want us on the go, anywhere podcasts are found, type in GNW and you'll get this show. Make sure you hit subscribe and leave us a rating if you would so like to on any of those. Boosts our the accessibility to this show. So be sure to give us a 5-star rating and like us, subscribe everywhere you find us. And that's my spiel. I'm done. Anything else?
Now let's get out of here.
Oh, and Full Clip has a YouTube page. GameFAQs, GAMEFAX, before I forget. And all right, that being said, we're out of here. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week with more gaming news.